Hey Reese, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Are you feeling all right?
I'm sorry.
Are you feeling all right? Yeah.
Uh, I felt better, that's for sure. But and I definitely sound horrible, but I don't think I don't think I feel as bad as I sound.
Yeah, I can relate.
So what did y'all get accomplished yesterday in class?
So she gave us this worksheet and we started working on it, but a few things she did differently. Um, like she
Okay.
did like one number to like a whole parentheses thing in fractions. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Okay.
Like,
All right. Let me pull up the sheet that I think it was,
okay.
and you tell me if I'm right. Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start there.
And for me, like I can like do the problems, but what's confusing is the instructions sometimes. Like that sounds weird, but
No, it doesn't sound weird at all because you are one of many who have either told me that in person or emailed me that. So, maybe what I'll do is kind of focus on what the instructions are actually asking in, with each section, and try to break it down so that hopefully y'all can see what it is. Okay, so like in this first section here, it says write the slope intercept form, which I'm hoping that when you guys see that now, you're thinking in your mind, or that's the goal of that's one of the goals for this chapter, is to automatically think this, because you're thinking of the equation of a line. This is an equation. When it says form, think equation of a line. And that, so it says slope intercept form of the equation of the line. So it's kind of even given a little bit further instruction to hopefully do that. Given the slope and the y-intercept. So we're looking for slope intercept form. So basically you're already given the slope and you're already given the intercept. So all these instructions I want you to do is to plug in the slope, which in this case is -1. So you can either choose to write it, which I'm fine with. If you don't want to write it, it would just be a -x or opposite of x. And then it says +0. So we've actually written a few things we don't have to. This actually looks like this. Does that help a little?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want to go through this study guide and the other study guide. Did she go through this in class yesterday?
I think so. Was it? I don't know if it was this or something else. I know. I think it was this. I think so.
You do think it was this?
I mean, I think so. I could be wrong.
It was,
Do
I
you
think.
have it was this?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the answer to number 3. Did y'all get that?
I got that one.
And does everybody on Math Lab right now understand how to get to that? When you're given the slope and the intercept, all you have to do is plug it into the equation slope intercept form, which here, unfortunately, this was something that I was going to give you all to have on the test on Friday, and we were going to work through that. But I knew without me there that it would be difficult to go through all the test review and that. So for yesterday's classwork, those are the answers to the first 3. So now, once again, we're asked for slope intercept form of the equation of the line. So that should be you should be thinking y equals mx plus b. But now it's given us a point and a given slope. So what you do here is you plug in the point, and you can either use point slope or you can use slope intercept to figure this out. Plug in the point, 1, -1, in for y, because that's your y coordinate. And then you plug in the slope, which is 6/5. And then you plug in your x. And since that's a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and write it like this. If you guys want to do that, like on the test, to kind of help you to think simplify before you multiply. Oops, my bad. Shouldn't have done that. That should have been plus b. Sorry, guys. Because we're solving for b. Because that's the one thing that we don't have to get it in slope intercept form. I already knew what the answer was, so I kind of messed myself up on that. So now I have my slope and I have my y-intercept. So I'm going to plug that back into the slope-intercept form, the form of the equation that has both the slope and the y-intercept. Was there ones on this one? Was it because there were more fractions on this one that made it more confusing, perhaps?
The fractions definitely help with the confusion. Like, the fractions make it more hard.
Okay. Well, a lot of times slope is going to be a fraction. I'm sorry, say that again.
I just joined. What worksheet is this?
This is the one that y'all did in class yesterday.
Are you going to do the
Study guide? Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to do the study guide, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for this one, so it was so you're saying that it was confusing because of the fractions more so than the process. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you technically got all of these. And we're able to plug things in. So when the slope is a fraction, that throws you off. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, probably the best thing to do when you're plugging things back in is when the slope is a fraction. On these particular ones, when you're plugging it back into the y equals mx plus b, the best thing would be to state your x coordinate maybe in fraction format. Like if it's like over here, we use -5/1. I mean, this one isn't too bad because 1 times itself is just 1, and then you would add 2/3 to both sides. So 2/3 equals b. Oh, Lord, help Miss Sparks. So that would be y equals -2/3 x plus 2/3. So that was probably more of the confusing thing. Is not necessarily that she did it differently, but the fact that this particular worksheet had a lot more fractions in it. Is that maybe the part? Did y'all get this for your answer? Did you all check these in class yesterday?
Yes,
or do you all need to check them?
Yes, ma'am.
You did check them in class?
Sure.
That someone just spoke, but it faded out really quickly, so I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, that was me. She went over with us.
She went over these on this worksheet?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, so do you all just want to check your answers and then me move to the study guide?
I need help with numbers 22 through 29.
22 through 29?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any in between there that anyone wants help with? How did she cover number 18 and 19? Who can tell me what kind of line number 18 is?
Undefined.
The slope, yes, it is undefined. Good job. Good job, Grayson. Because this line is what kind of line?
Just a negative.
What kind of line is
It's
it
a
though?
parallel. It's parallel.
Horizontal or vertical? It's horizontal or vertical?
I don't know.
Anybody tell me this is a horizontal or vertical line?
Vertical.
It is vertical and it is undefined. Good job on the slope. That sounded like the Carmichael team right there. I'm not sure though. And what kind of line is this one?
Zero.
What kind? Is it vertical or horizontal?
Horizontal.
Good job. So the slope is 0. So let me ask y'all this in math lab today. What is the slope of the line that runs perpendicular to number 18? Runs perpendicular to 18. What's the slope?
3.
Of running perpendicular.
Oh.
So if it's a vertical line, what kind of line runs perpendicular? It would be y equals 3, but what kind of line is that?
Horizontal.
Yes, good job, horizontal. And a horizontal line has a 0 slope. So if this same question came up with perpendicular, don't forget, horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other. So you have to think about their slopes, okay? Just making sure you guys know that. And then 20, I'm going to move on to 22. Write the slope intercept form of the equation of the line described. So it's asking me to write a slope intercept form line that is parallel to y equals -5/2 x minus 2. So what will be the same in a line parallel to this? What will be the same?
The slope.
Correct. So I'm going to take this point and plug it back into slope intercept form with the same slope. But what's going to be different is that y-intercept. So we're going to find the y-intercept. So once again, because my slope is a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and make my x coordinate a fraction by just setting it over 1, because I can take any number in the whole wide world and make it a fraction by setting it over 1. I could 10,000 over 1 is still 10,000. Okay, so now I'm going, and I'm sorry, I'm going to probably write over number 24, but I'll erase it once we get there. So now what I'm going to do is multiply. That's going to give me a -10. Can everybody still see that? No, it's not going to give me a -10. Miss Sparks really is sick. It's going to be a +15 over 2 plus 5. All right, so now I have to move this 15 over 2 which I know Courtney right now has already got that into decimal form for me. And I believe it should be 7.5. Right, Courtney? Because she's always my decimal,
Yes, ma'am.
decimal translator for me. Thank you. So for those of you who don't want to get a common denominator, which is probably 98% of you in math lab today, you could change that to 7.5 if you wanted to. And you're going to subtract 7.5 from both sides. But don't forget, you're not subtracting that 4 from that 5. You're actually finding the difference of these two. So that's going to give you a negative. Oops, I didn't line that up very well at all. Miss Sparks. Why won't you erase? It's already given out on me. Sorry, guys, it's not writing all of a sudden. I need you to not lock up today. Sorry, guys, it locked up on me. I'm going to have to load it again. Okay, so you're going to subtract negative 7.5 from 4. You're going to get a negative 3.5 equals B. So you can do one of two things. Your answer is either going to look like the line parallel to that is going to be Y equals negative 5 halves X minus 3.5. Or if you had 7/2.
So did you do
So
4
are you not
minus
allowed
7?
to have like a mixed number?
Oh, you could have a mixed number too. What did you have? 3.5?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could do that,
So I
or
guess-
you had to make it improper.
3.5, 7/2, or 3.5 are all acceptable.
So did you do 4 minus 7.5 or 7.5 minus 4?
Well, because I have a positive and a negative, you're just basically finding the difference and giving the sign of the higher.
So 7.5 minus 4.
Because I've got a positive 4 and a minus. I'm sorry?
So it's 7.5 minus 4, right? 7.5 minus 4, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I mess something up?
Okay. I was just double checking.
Okay. I was like, y'all are going to have to watch me close today. Miss Sparks is obviously a little foggy, a little under the weather. So basically what you're doing for all of these 22, 23, all of these is almost the same exact thing, if you will, that you're doing all the way back here. Wait a minute. On these, on that second section, 4, 5, and 6, the process is almost the exact same thing. But the slope that's given is actually given in the equation, and you have to manipulate it so if it's parallel, you know it's the same slope. And if it's perpendicular, it's the opposite reciprocal. But the process is the same exact thing that you're doing on numbers 4, 5, and 6. Does that make sense? You're still plugging in a point. You're still plugging in a slope, and you're finding B. But where you're getting the slope is from the equation, and then you're making a decision based on, okay, if it's parallel, then it will be the same slope. If it's perpendicular, it's going to be the opposite reciprocal. So that's what you're doing on all of these. So let's kind of talk about the process. And what I'm going to let you guys do, particularly because I was absent yesterday, is you can have one piece of notebook paper with some notes to yourself on it. So if you want to write some of these processes down, or you want to write down, I think a point has been made to me a few times, not that you don't know how to do the work, but the instructions can sometimes be a little confusing. So if you wrote like a note to yourself, or I can even give this particular one out, the slope and the y-intercept, then I know that slope-intercept form. And if I'm given the slope and the y-intercept, I know I only have to plug that information in. So if you want Miss Sparks to even print this particular one out, or one like this for you guys to do, if this would be helpful, or if you want to make your own, that's fine too. So once again, on number 23, it's asking for a parallel line. What will be the same on this other line?
Slope.
The slope. So what is the slope?
4/3.
4/3. Good job. So then I'm going to plug in my point into my slope-intercept form, or point-slope, either one. And once again, since my slope is a fraction, I'm going to make my coordinate a fraction by just setting it over 1, because any number over 1 is that number. That's how you make it a fraction. I don't know what B is, just like the other ones. I'm looking for B. And I'm going to subtract 8/3 from both sides. So I want to get a common denominator, because that's just how Miss Sparks does things. So I'm actually going to change this -5 to a -15/3, because -5 3 times 1 is 1 goes into 3 times, and 3 times -5 is -15. So that's the equivalent fraction of that. So it'd be -23. I can see why y'all didn't like these. These aren't pretty answers for you all at all, are they? So the answer to number 23 is, I'm going to write it over here. Y equals, because I'm going to plug everything that I know back in, 4/3 x minus 23 over 3. Oh, yeah, there's quite a few fractions in these. Y'all didn't like these at all, did you? You thought it was some kind of cruel joke that Miss Sparks did you yesterday. So that's your answer. Not pretty, but that's your answer. 4/3 x minus 23 over 3. Do you all want me to keep working through these or move to the study guide? What would you like me to do?
Can you do some of the
Could you do number 26?
I can do number 26. And then, Annabella, you said something too. What did you say?
I said, can you do some of the perpendicular ones? But that's what she wants you to do.
Can you do number 24?
Oh, okay. All right. Great. Yes, I can do 24 and I can do 26. As long as I know there's specific ones. I don't want to just sit here and take up anybody's time. But I can do 24 and I can do 26. And I'll do a couple of the perpendicular. On the perpendicular, I'll do 26 and 27 for sure. $24. So the slope on this one is what? Anybody tell me?
-1.
-1. Good job. So I'm going to plug in. Why is my screen doing crazy things to me? I'm sorry, guys. Plus B. Look at that. It has a delay on it, so I can't tell what I'm writing. -4 equals -1 plus B. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So it gives me -3 equals B. So the answer is y equals, slope stays the same, so it's going to look like -1x or -x minus our new b is -3.
Thank you.
And another way to kind of think about some of, oh, you're welcome. Another way to think about some of these is if you don't know what slope is, I can pretty much tell you you're going to have to find slope. And if it's asking for equation in slope intercept form, you're probably going to have to find a new b. That's some of the things that they're asking. But if the question reads, write in slope intercept form, given the slope and the y-intercept, then you know you already have all the information you need. Number 26. Okay. Give us a line that's perpendicular to y equals 4/7x minus 4. So you know that the slope of a perpendicular line is opposite reciprocal. So what is the slope of the line that's going to be perpendicular to this line? What will it?
-7 over 4.
Absolutely. -7 over 4 is the slope. So now I'm going to take my point and plug it back in to the slope intercept form. So -5 and then -7 over 4. And I'm going to take my x-intercept and write it in a fraction form, which is 4/1. Then the b is the part that we don't know. So I'm going to simplify before I multiply. So it's going to give me -5 equals -7 plus b. Now I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I got -3 equals
Where
B.
did you get 2?
So my final answer.
Who did you get two?
I'm sorry? Oh, I don't have any earthly idea. The fact that in my head I was already thinking I was subtracting 7. Oh my gosh, bless your heart.
So
Y'all, you're going to have to watch me today. You can tell I don't feel good. No, thank you for catching that. I appreciate that help so much.
Wouldn't it be +7?
Yes, it is, honey.
Oh.
It is. I corrected it. I'm sorry. Sorry, so sorry. Lord help Miss Sparks. She doesn't feel good. Y'all, you know, when you try to take tests and you don't feel good, that's why I have a lot of compassion for you guys when you do that. None of us think, well, I was already doing the answer in my head. So instead of actually doing the math, I actually gave you the answer and tried to subtract the answer from itself. But this is your answer. I'm so sorry. Hold on just a minute, guys. Yeah, I know. I think I need a cough drop.
You should just work. You should honestly just work all the problems and then posted it on Google Classroom.
Yeah.
Like the worked out problems.
What? Oh, and now this isn't working. I don't think. Oh, it is. Praise God. Okay. All right. So that's the answer.
Do you know what cough drops are?
Oh, you're sweet, Momo. Yeah, they're on my bedside table. Sorry, guys.
Well,
My family's trying to help me. Sorry about that. So hopefully my throat won't be as scratchy. I definitely want to power through for you guys to get this done so that you guys understand it, but I really don't want to confuse you more. Oh, thank you very much. And plus there's a huge lag time in my, I think it's because we have so many in math lab, which I praise the Lord for, but. All right, I'm going to do number 27 also.
Miss
Did everybody
Sparks,
get the answer for that one?
Miss Sparks, why is it 7 over?
Why is it -7/4 for number 26?
Yeah, the
Is that what
original
you did?
problem was 4/7.
I'm sorry?
4/7.
Yes, so we're doing a perpendicular line. So the slope of the new line is the opposite reciprocal.
Oh.
Because number 26 is find the perpendicular line. So the slope is opposite reciprocal. The original line is 4/7. So the perpendicular slope would be -7/4.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Good question, though.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So on that note, let's then move to number 27. So somebody, while I'm erasing, and I don't want to waste anybody's time, somebody tell me for number 27, what would the slope of the perpendicular line, what would it be for this one? Opposite reciprocal.
4/3. Oh, -4/3.
Positive 4/3. Good job. So I'm going to plug my point in. 5 equals 4/3. Since it's a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and put it. And then what I don't know is B. I'm looking for my new B. So I'm going to subtract 16 over 3. Oh, Lord, I'm already doing the math in my head. It's negative 16 over 3. And then 5, this is my side work. 1 goes into 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. I don't want to do it there. I'm going to change that 5 to 15 over 3. And subtract 16 over 3 from it. And that gives me, I just subtract my numerator, so that's going to give me a negative 1/3 equals B. So my final answer for number 27 is Y equals 4/3 X minus 1/3. How did you all do on numbers 30 and 31? Did she go over those in class?
In our class, we did 30, but not 31.
We didn't.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure I get to those because there's definitely some of those on the test. And if you need extra practice on those, the extra credit opportunity with the book work, I think, Eli, since you're with me, do you remember what numbers those were? Because we talked about them the other day in math lab. Were they 13 through 17? Do you remember? Does anyone remember?
But
Yeah, it was 1 through 26 was the total work, but the ones that were like 30 and 31, what numbers were those? 13 through 16 or 13 through 17, I think, something like that in the book for extra practice. So what we're going to do, like on number 30, you look at the slope. So what's the slope in this one? 6. What's the slope in this one? Negative 1/6. And the slope is... Yes.
It's 12 through 15 that are like 30 and 31.
Okay, thank you very much. 12 through 15 on that classwork. So if y'all want extra practice on those are some good ones to do on page 261. All right, so what you're looking, do any of these lines have the same slope? No. So none are parallel. That's for parallel, none. And opposite reciprocals are perpendicular. So for perpendicular lines, that would be line A and C. Now for 31, they need to all be in slope-intercept form, and they aren't. Only line A is. So to get line B in slope-intercept form, I have to subtract negative 5x. Actually, line A isn't even in slope-intercept. I stand corrected.
For 30, wouldn't it be A and B are perpendicular?
Yes. Whoever corrected me, thank you. Bless you. It is A and B. Thank you. Y'all have to watch Miss Sparks today. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to help y'all, but I'm like, ooh. All right. So negative 5x plus 4 is slope intercept, but maybe me doing some of this stuff incorrect and y'all correcting me, maybe that'll be like, yeah, I really do know this. I helped Miss Sparks. All right. So no, B is not in slope intercept form, so I would have to subtract 5x from both sides to get it over. So that would look like this: 5x plus y equals 3. Subtract 5x. Oh my goodness. Y equals negative 5x plus 3. Plus 4. Where did I even get 3? No, I was right. Oh, Lord help Miss Sparks. It's bad. I'm looking at this one. Oh, God, I'm making myself laugh. I should have had y'all run math lab today.
Could we do that on like the last day of school?
Yes, absolutely. I would love for y'all to do that.
Okay.
And then for C, it's not in slope intercept form either. So we've got to add 1/5 x to both sides. Y'all should have done it today, Grayson. I'm not even kidding.
It's not too late. We could teach the study guide.
There you go. Yeah, I'll have everybody take a problem. All right, so so the slope for line A is what?
-5.
Good job. The slope for line B is what?
-5.
Good job. And the slope for line C is what?
1/5.
Positive 1/5. Good job. So that tells me lines A and B are parallel. And lines A and B are perpendicular to C. Or C is perpendicular to A and B, however you want to word it. And there are all the answers. Did y'all get these yesterday in class? You want me to post them on Google Classroom?
Yes, please.
Is
Okay.
this a study guide?
This is not the study guide. This was the test review from class yesterday. Did you get it all done yesterday, Grayson?
I think I did, but this doesn't look familiar whatsoever.
This is just the answers.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. We wouldn't have given this to you in class, so I'm glad that it doesn't look familiar. Are you all checking your answers now? Or you want me to just move to the study guide and post this so y'all can check it later? You can always email me.
Miss Sparks, can you scroll up to 31? I need to write down one more thing.
Absolutely. But scroll back to here. Is that what you meant?
Yes, ma'am.
Or just scroll up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
After you're done with that, go back up to number 14 and 15.
I'm done.
Yeah. I could do that. I'm just trying to make sure we have plenty of time to cover the study guide too.
I'm done.
Okay. Number 14 and 15. What do we have? Oh, standard form. Yay. Okay, so standard form, we're going to distribute. We haven't done any of this. We will on the study guide too. We're going to distribute our 6 throughout all of the parentheses. And then we're going to combine our constants. And now we've got it in slope-intercept form. In order to be in standard form, there's a delay. Our x and our y's need to be on the same side. So if I didn't want a negative, remember Miss Sparks will accept that. But if I didn't want a negative in the front, I would multiply everything to make an equivalent equation, multiply everything throughout by a -1. So that changes the sign of every number. And you were getting a bonus point for that on your quiz. Did you get that, Mary?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so for number 15, oh man, this was loaded with fractions. Y'all were happy yesterday.
Yeah, I love fractions, also known as sarcasm.
I knew that. Yes, I knew. I can't think of anybody. I've only had one student, maybe two students in, 30 years that actually liked fractions.
I don't like fractions, but I prefer them over decimals.
Oh, you and me both. That's why I always ask Courtney what the decimal form is. I'm right there with you.
Sometimes the decimal gets too hard, though.
Yeah. I know, because some of these definitely have ones that have some ugly decimals. Okay, so I'm going to do my side work up here because I'm distributing my -3/4 to my +4. That's definitely not a plus, Mrs. Sparks. I'm going to simplify before I multiply. So this gives me a -3. Now I'm going to combine my constants. And I'm going to bring my answer up over here. And now I need to move my 3/4 x to the other side. 3/4 x plus y equals 2. Now, just for a point of clarification for you guys, obviously tomorrow you can leave it like this, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's one on there that has this. I'm not positive though. I got to double check. But what you need to remember when getting an equivalent equation, because that's really all we're doing is getting an equivalent equation, to not get a fraction leading the front and not turning any of your other numbers into fractions, all you have to do is multiply the whole equation by the denominator of the one fraction. So I would multiply this whole thing by 4. And then that leaves me, if I multiplied a 4 times 3 over 4, and I simplified before I multiplied, I would have a 3x plus 4y equals 8. All I did was get rid of that denominator by doing that. And I increased my y by 4 and increased my constant by 4 times. So that would be my final answer. Although if you left it here, Miss Sparks would be happy. How did they do it? Oh, 14 and 15. Oh, they actually went ahead and multiplied it out and got the equivalent equation. So that's why I'm glad I did that, because then you got the same answer that was on the answer guide.
Thank you.
So I'm glad you asked about those, Mary Faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody get that? Okay. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that has the given slope and y-intercept. These are just like numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the test review guide. Okay? So all you're doing is plugging in, and I even gave you the y equals mx plus b. So what are the answers to those? Since y'all are going to help me through this study guide. Who's my first person to volunteer?
I will.
Okay.
Y equals 5x minus 2.
Y equals 5x. Oops. If Miss Sparks could write better, it would help too. Okay, minus 2. Good job. Is that Kirsten? Who was that?
Addison.
Oh, Addison. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I can't see who's volunteering, but yes, that's perfect. Addison, you are absolutely correct. So that is the answer to number 1. All right. Who wants to volunteer for number 2?
I will.
Okay.
Is it y equals 1/2 x?
That's it. Perfect. Y'all are doing great. Okay, number 3 is going to be a little harder. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. So what do I need to do first?
Find the slope. Oh, wait, never mind. I was ahead of myself.
Oh, okay. You were on number 6, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so for number 3, what am I going to do?
6 equals 5 negative 1 plus b.
Right? Because I want to find B. Because I'm writing it in slope.
Answer y equals 5x plus 9.
I don't have that here. But I appreciate the fact that you volunteered. Let's figure out what could be different. Because you said 9?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, right?
Yes, ma'am. I did all that. Yes, ma'am. I did all that.
Okay, and so you added 5 to both sides?
Oh, I just couldn't do
I got
basic
11
addition. I
equals
thought 6
B.
plus 5 was 9 when it's 11. 5 was 9 when it's 11.
Yeah, well, hey, no judgment here because apparently I've struggled with that today too. So, you're just trying to make Miss Sparks feel better, and you're really sweet, Grayson. I appreciate
Yeah, that's
that.
what I was getting. Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah, I know. You have a big heart like that. Well, y'all, as bad as that writing is, that's technically supposed to say y equals 5x plus 11. Okay, so number 4. Who's going to walk me through that?
I can.
Okay, let me see if I can get this erased. Okay, tell me what to write.
3 equals -2 times 10 plus b.
Good job. I'm actually writing everything you told me to. It's just that it's delaying. I'm sorry. Did I write it right?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure I'm following y'all's instructions because I definitely need you. Okay, so now what am I going to do?
Add 20 to both sides.
Good job. Add 20 to both sides. So my B is what?
23. 23.
Good job. All right, so my final answer is
Y equals -2x plus 23. Y equals -2x plus 23.
okay. All right, number 5. Oh, I'm erasing that little plus sign, but it's not going away. Okay, so number 5. Oh, y'all are quiet on this one. Wonder why? There's a fraction in it. Is there a brave soul out there that will at least help me set up the problem?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So you do
Tell me what
1
to write.
-3 times -8 plus b.
And I'm going to go ahead and put my -8 over 1 to make it a fraction so that it's easier to go ahead and set up for simplify before you multiply if you can. And in this particular case, you can. So -3 times -2 to +6. And I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. -5 equals B. So any volunteers to plug in my, to write it now in slope-intercept form?
Y
we have our
equals -3 over 4x minus 5.
-5?
That is it.
I can do number 6 if you want.
Okay. Good job. I'm trying to give myself some space to write.
I can't hear you. It says that Eli muted you.
How do you unclick it? It's not working.
I hear you now.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Any little buttons. Can everybody hear me now?
I
I
can.
can't.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it's working.
It's probably because the feedback on here gets kind of bad. The more crowded Math Lab is, the slower my pen is, and the slower. And then we also get a lot more feedback. But I'm glad everybody's here. That is something that the technical support at the school is supposedly working on. So, all right. So, Courtney's going to walk me through number 6. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. And once again, I did put it on there to kind of help you guys out and to let you know. And remember, your final equation is always going to have an x and a y in it. We'll write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given point. So the first thing you're going to do, if you're not finding B, 90% of the time you're going to be finding that slope. So I'm ready when you are, Courtney. Help me set up.
You would do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you would do -3 minus 7. Over 5 minus -10. And then that equals -10 over 15.
Which reduces to -2 over 3.
Leave it to a brother to steal the show. But
And then
good
you have to pick.
Carmichael.
And then you have to pick one of the points.
And are you going to do point slope or slope intercept?
Slope-intercept.
I just use the coordinate 5, -3.
Okay, but which formula did you plug it back into? The slope intercept?
Yes, ma'am.
Just you tell me what to write. Okay. Hang on. I'm still trying to erase. Okay, tell me what to write.
I did -3 equals -2 over 3 times 5 plus b. And then you have to multiply the -2 over 3 times 5. And then you get 10 over 5, I think.
You did.
No, 10 over
10,
3.
negative 10 over 3. Yes, ma'am.
And then you would have to add that to both sides. And you would have to add that to the denominator.
Good job.
And then I got B equals 1/3.
Is it just me or is it a bunch of random background noise?
No,
I hear
there
it
is.
too.
There's a lot of feedback. The more people that are on Math Lab, the greater the feedback. And that is something that they're trying to.
There's 8 people.
So what is B?
1
1/3.
over 3.
1 over 3. Thank you.
And then you plug it in, and it would be y equals negative 2 over 3 x plus Could you do number 9 and 10?
Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and write the answers in for 7 and 8 for you guys. Is there anybody who needs me to just at least do the work on the screen?
Could you?
Because you can find. I'm sorry?
Like, if it's not a problem, could you do the work?
Yes, I definitely can, but I am kind of running short on time. So I'm going to run through 7 really quickly. And then I think let me look at both of them and see which one is the hardest.
Well, I think you could just put the answers in. We can check our answers, and then you can move on.
All right, but make sure y'all are doing the work. Okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line shown. There's really not a difference between 9 and 10 as 6 and 8, except for you're actually, believe it or not, given the y-intercept on both of them. But if you weren't given the y-intercept, you would find the slope using the points that were given on there.
Miss Sparks, can you scroll up just a little bit?
Like this or like that?
Okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now, on number 9, it's kind of weird because you're going over by 2.5. So, yeah, this one gets into complex fractions. Or we can have Courtney help us out. And you could actually, there's a couple things you could do. So your slope actually looks like your rise over your run. See how they wrote that over here? It's -2. Or actually, it's 2. It's not a negative. I'm thinking about it going down 1, and it's really going up. No, I'm right. And yeah, I was right. It is negative. Lord of mercy, I cannot get this erased. Okay. So I got -2. It's not writing again. My screen is frozen again, guys, so I'm going to wait just a second to see if it comes back on.
Miss Sparks, is the test going to be kind of like the study guide?
Miss Sparks, is the test going to be kind of like the study guide?
Well, Lord help us all. I don't even know how I got to that. The test is going to be, I mean, I guess I could say that it's kind of like the study guide, which I have to reload now because it just went away. I don't want to panic you and say that it is, but you're going to have graphs on it that you have to be able to, like on 9 and 10. This is kind of how we started the chapter. Is it hard for you? Let me ask you guys this. Is it hard for you guys to go from reading the graph and taking the information off of the graph?
Yes.
And
Yes.
okay. So understanding how a linear equation relates to the graph is still complicated for you guys. Is that correct?
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that
Not really how the linear. Okay. So you're not really seeing how the linear equation relates to the graph exactly. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yes.
But it's not going to be like a lot of graphs, right? Only a few. So if we get them wrong, it's not a big deal, right? If we get them wrong, it's not a big deal, right?
Let's see. 1, 2. No, there's technically 6 graphs on the, no, 8 graphs on the current one.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking and praying about the fact that you all, and then I'm thinking about what we need to do when we get back from Thanksgiving break, because I do want to test you guys on the concepts that you've mastered. Wow. This is funny. I just loaded this. This is like from last year. From Math Lab from last year. And that is a really old copy. It is really running really, 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 really slow. Oh. I know that you all need this. So. Hmm. And now it's not coming up at all. Okay, so let's talk about while this is painfully trying to load. Let's talk about the test review that you all did in class yesterday. If the test were more like that, would that be better?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Do you think that that's one that you could show Miss Sparks what you've learned from this
Yes, ma'am.
more effectively?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because, okay, so I'm just going to try to teach from here. I can't write on this, but the others just aren't opening for some reason. So being able to look at number 9 is a harder one because it's got actually a run of 2.5, which I do want to write for you guys. You did not have to do numbers 11 and 12. I posted that on Google Classroom. There won't be any word problems on there, no matter what the question, the test is like. There won't be any word problems.
Could you explain how to do numbers 9 and 10? Could you explain how to do numbers 9 and 10?
Yes. Okay. While we're looking at it, like I say, I can't write on it, but while we're looking at it, where does that line cross the y-intercept, the y-axis? Where does it cross? On number 9. On number
4?
Yes. It crosses at 4. What is the x coordinate of that point?
2.5 or is it 0?
No, what is the x coordinate of that point? 0. Somebody said 0. It is 0. So a y-intercept has a x coordinate of 0. So for when that is the case, all you're doing is looking for the slope, which in this case, if you just wanted to write it as -2 over 2.5, that would be fine because they're actually giving you the slope. So you could write -2 over 2.5. So y equals -2 over 2.5 plus 4 equals, or yes, y equals -2 over 2.5 x plus 4. It's just completely locked up. I literally can't bring anything up now at all.
Try turning your Wi-Fi off and back on. Try turning your Wi-Fi off and back on.
Well, I will drop this call completely if I do that.
Oh, that's problematic. Oh, that's problematic.
Yes. If I can at least get a blank page up, maybe I should just try that. Okay, I'm on number 10. I don't even really know what to do anymore. Just because if I can't show you guys something. All right, I want you guys to write this down. Okay, so if I were counting from that point, -3, 2, to 0, 0, how many would I go down?
2.
2. So that's going to be the top part of my slope. How many would I go right?
3.
3. So my slope is -2/3. So the answer to number 10 is y equals -2/3x. And then where does this one cross the y-axis?
0.
0. So you can either write +0 if you want to, or just don't write anything at all.
Is this for 9 or 10?
That was for number 10.
What was 9?
9 was y equals. You went down 2, so that's -2 over, and you went right 2.5. So 2.5 x plus 4, because it crosses the y-axis at 4.
Okay,
the
thank you.
y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. Yes. I'm trying to show you guys how the graph and the equation relate. Please, Lord Jesus, let this have opened up. No, of course it didn't.
What about closing that tab and opening it again?
That's what I've been trying to do over and over again.
Miss Sparks.
Yes.
In a minute, can you help me with
Yes, baby. Yes. Let me see if it'll at least, this is last year's math lab, but at least it's erasing. Maybe it's not anymore. Miss Sparks wrote just as bad last year as she does this year. And they had the word problem last year. But there's the answers to number 9 and 10.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. So number 13. There's a number of things that you could do on this one. And obviously last year, I chose to multiply everything by a -2. On number 13. And that would cut everything in half and actually change the sign so that I didn't have a leading coefficient of negative. So you could either do that or multiply the whole thing by -1. It wouldn't really matter. But I multiplied the whole thing. And now I'm completely locked up. I can't move at all. Oh, praise God. I moved. Okay, so number 14 and 15. Let me see if there's any like that on the test. I've got 2 versions of a test.
So I don't quite understand standard form all the way. So I've got to -2y minus 4x equals 16. But I don't know what to do from there.
Tell me what your answer was again, sweetie.
I don't have an answer. I've just got to the step where it's -2y minus 4x equals 16.
-2y minus 4x equals 16.
For what number, honey? What number are you working on?
Oh, 13.
What problem?
Oh,
13.
13. And could you tell me, okay, tell me again all of it, because the only thing I got was, all you're supposed to do on that when you write an equivalent equation is multiply everything by some number.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
And I actually multiplied,
okay, I can do that.
I multiplied everything by a negative 1/2, which I know none of you would want to do that, but it cuts everything in two.
Why did you do negative instead of just a
But you
positive?
could actually multiply, so I could get rid of the negative in the front. Because remember, that's one of the major goals of trying to find an equivalent equation, is to get rid of fractions and negatives on that leading coefficient. That's one of the main reasons. So actually, if you multiplied this whole thing by a -1, and you just got 4x plus 2y equals -16, that would be a great answer as well. Does that make sense? So many technical issues. It makes me so sad.
I need help with 16.
So, okay. How did y'all do on 14 and 15?
I got A for 14. I got A equals 0.5.
Yeah, me
That's correct. I got 1/2 there, but 0.5 is the same thing. Okay.
Miss Sparks, can you scroll up
I'm
one
gonna try.
Miss Sparks, can you scroll up one
For what, honey? For which one?
number 13?
Yes. And I did a -1/2, but if you did a -1 and you just got, please write 4x plus 2y equals -16. That would be fine too.
Okay.
You're just supposed to write an equivalent equation. So you're multiplying everything by a particular number. All right. Does everybody understand how to set up number 14 and 15? I don't think there will be anything like that on the test. There is either form of the test I have. I have that. Someone does though?
I understand it.
Yeah, I do.
I don't, but I'm glad it's not on the test.
But that doesn't mean it won't be on the final or when we get back from, so we'll cover it again. But basically, just so that you understand it, Grayson, because this has to be turned in tomorrow, you need to plug in the 6 for the X and the 1 for the Y, and then solve for A for number 14. And for number 15, you need to plug in the -5 for X, the 4 for Y, and solve for B. All right. Graph the equation using the point slope form. So the first thing that you're going to do is pull out the point out of the equation. So what is the point that you're given in number 16? Can anyone tell me?
Is it 3, 2?
So there's a point. It is 3, 2. Good job. So I'm going to go over 3 and up 2. Now, what is the slope? Anybody tell me what the
3, 2.
Where did I get 3, 2? Where did you get 3, 2?
Yes, ma'am.
This is point slope form. So here's the x coordinate and here's the y coordinate, and you take out the opposite.
Okay, I remember now.
Okay, cool. All right, where can anyone tell me what the slope is?
Three.
2 over
3. Good job. And where did you get that?
Because the equation is y1 minus 2 equals m, which is slope.
Good job. So the slope is 3. So I'm going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. Or down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. And then connect my points. All right, what's the point in number 17?
1, 1.
1, 1.
1, 1. Good job. Well, it's 1. Actually, that's -1. Sorry. But it's 1 and -1. Do you all see that? Because you pull out the opposite. Because in the original equation, it's y minus y1. So if you have a plus, it means it would be y minus a -1. So when you're pulling out, you pull out the opposite. So I go over 1, down 1 to plot my point. Now, what's my slope? Still here from last year. What's the slope?
Negative.
-1, because there's only a negative outside the parentheses. The slope is negative. So I would go left 1, up 1, or down 1, right 1. So there is my line. And actually, on the one version of the test that I have, yeah, you do have to do that. On one of the versions of the test that I have, you have to graph using point slope form. Do you all think you could do it now or not really?
No.
Yes.
No.
Maybe.
kind of.
Okay. All right.
For number 18 and 19, do you use the slope formula?
Yes, you do. Find the slope first. Good job. And can everybody pull the points out? Okay. on number 18 and 19? Can you tell me what the ordered pairs are?
Is it 4, comma, -8 and -3, comma, 1? And -3, comma, 1.
It is. Good job. Does everybody understand where she got that?
I don't understand how like the problem would look while you're solving it.
Okay. Do you see where she? Okay. It's going to be the exact same thing that we've been doing, except the way they give the ordered pairs is in function notation. So once you get the ordered pairs, it's not going to look any different. Does that make sense? So she got one ordered pair. -3, 1. Well, it would look better if Math Lab was working more effectively today. I'm really sorry. The technical problems seem to be increasing instead of getting better. So now you have two ordered pairs, and we're supposed to put it in slope intercept, or we're supposed to write an equation in function form, which basically, remember that fancy f of x is the same thing as y. So now we're just going to find the slope.
Why would 8 go first?
Because that's the point I picked. If you picked the other one, then 1 would go first. Which one did you? Is that what you picked?
Well, I did 1.
It doesn't matter. You're still going to get this. First. Okay. Well, you could do it either way. So your -3 went first on the bottom.
Sorry, what?
So your negative, you put -3 first on the bottom as well. Is that? I can do it that way.
Oh no, it's fine.
Is that how y'all prefer it done?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. It doesn't matter which one that you do. It's just that then yours probably came out.
It's fine.
Did you get 9/7? Did I do something wrong?
What
Did
is
you
number
get 9/7?
What is number 8?
I'm sorry?
What does number 18 say by the blank?
By the blank. Way over here? It's probably from last year, honey.
Oh, okay.
It's probably part of my answer. I'm trying to get rid of, this was the only form that I could get to work when I was pulling things up, and I'm trying desperately to erase it, but I'm having so many technical issues on my side that it's like literally all I'm doing is erasing this screen. That's what I've spent when I'm talking, I'm trying to erase, and it's not really going away. It's not clearing. Whoever has worked slope for number 18, did you all get -9/7 or 9/-7, one way or the other?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then you would plug that back in. You would use one of the points then, which I would use -3 and 1. And I would, then you would get your B. But I think what I'm going to end up having to do is actually write out all of these problems on a piece of paper and then post my work, because I literally am struggling so badly right now in math.
Not a button that says clear all.
Show you guys anything. I'm sorry?
Is there a button that says like delete all of it?
Nope.
Instead of each
There
individual.
was. Been looking for it. Nope. Nope, not one. I can maybe enable hand tool. But it won't even erase using hand tool. That's my finger trying to erase it, and it won't. Nope, nothing.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Thank you. I just feel so bad, but there will not be any, and I'm not going to be able probably to erase this at all either. Look at that. Ugh. There will, what I'm going to have to do is post me working each one of these out. Do you all follow my work well enough that if I post it worked out, you would be able to follow my work?
Yes.
Or is it better when I explain it? Would everybody be able to follow my work?
I can do it both ways.
That way.
I can do it. That way as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's what I'm going to do because Math Lab is just not working today. I'm so sorry, guys. What I might try to do, how many of you will be around later?
I will.
If I try to do one in the afternoon.
I will.
I will try to do a second one in the afternoon, or maybe what I'll do is actually try to go into one all by myself and see if I've left it, because I do know when there's more people, it takes a while. So maybe I'll just work out the problems, the second half of the study guide that way, and then post that. But I'll post at least the answers in my work.
Can you say what the answer is for number 18 and 19?
Answer is for number 18 and 19.
Actually, I think I could do better than that. Hang on. See, I've already worked a lot of it out. And I will make my work look a little neater than that. How's that?
I did not get that.
I did not get that.
On those? You got
19.
-9/7. Oh, you got 19. And you probably got the -9/7. Did you get a decimal for 20/7?
I got 15/7.
I got 15/7.
I'm looking back at my work. See where I have 27/7.
It says it equals -3 and 6/7.
It equals -3 and 6/7.
Do you see my work where it says 27/7 plus b? So I'm going to subtract 27/7 from both sides.
I did that, but was
So you would get a negative. Well, I plugged in. Okay, well, 7/7. If I change my 1 to a 7/7, see my work way up there at the top over on the left? 7/7 minus 27/7. So it equals -20/7. Do you see that in the upper left, right next to where it says write an equation for a linear function?
Yeah, but where did you get negative 27 over 7.
Where do you get negative 27 over 7?
When I multiply my negative 3 times negative 9 over 7, I got a positive 27 over 7.
My calculator is saying something different. I don't know if I plugged it in wrong, but I keep plugging it in.
What do you get?
I got negative 15 over 7.
Negative 15 over 7.
When you multiply negative 9 times the negative 3, you get a positive 27. Just multiply negative 9 times negative 3.
It says it's negative 3 and 6 over 7.
Negative 3 and 6 over 7.
Well, well, 7 goes into 27 3 times. But you left out one of your negatives, because a negative times a negative is a positive. But 7 goes into 27 3 times with 6 left over. So it would be 3 and 6/7, but it is positive because a negative times a negative is a positive.
Could you go to the next page, please, where it talks about point and slope form?
Yes. Does that make sense?
Problem? Yeah, I didn't bring the negative with the fraction.
Oh, okay. I got you. So where you write an equation in point slope form, you find the slope first, and then you pick one of the points. But I actually wrote specifically for you to use the first point to write the equation. Use the first point. So that means on number 23, you would use the point 9 and 4. And on number 24, you would use the point negative 3 and 10. So once you've found the slope, all right, well, I will definitely post this plus some additional work on Google Classroom for you guys later. And I'm going to go ahead and post the answers now. I'll post my own personal answer guide to this. And I don't know if y'all will be able to make heads or tails of my chicken scratch, but I will definitely do that now so y'all can be checking it. So definitely y'all are struggling with taking information from a graph to an equation and from an equation to a graph. So that's something that we need to work on before year end. Is that correct? I will post this. If you have any further questions for today, please email me, okay? And I'm going to put this up now. and that will give you some things to work on. And then maybe as you're working through the study guide with my answers, maybe you all will figure out what questions you have. And I'll also post the answers to what was in class yesterday too. But y'all have a blessed afternoon. Thank you for tolerating Math Lab with all of its quirkiness. Maybe I'll try again this afternoon.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.